In this video, I want to break down how my business does over $1.2 million in revenue with 3 very specific offerings for our clients. Now, honestly, more important than the revenue, I work less than 30 hours a week. I get to take my kids to and from school, and I mountain bike usually 2 times between Monday and Friday. While the revenue is great and it provides a really great income, I get to provide an abundant lifestyle for my family and really have an amazing schedule. And that's why I think hands down, this is the simplest and best model that I personally know of for agency owners and freelancers and consultants that actually value their freedom and they don't want to have a massive team, but they want to serve a lot of clients, have a really healthy and strong income, but not at the expense of their hobbies and or their family and or their lifestyle. Now, before we jump into the 3 specific offers, I want to state what I think should be the obvious, and that this is what's worked for me, and it's also worked for many of our clients. And I think if you actually look at the marketplace inside of your industry, there are probably many examples that might even be competitors of yours right now, or people that you looked at as influencers or what have you, that are actually utilizing this exact model right now. And the real beautiful part of this model is that it's not the quote unquote business in a box where you have to follow everything specifically to a T. This is more of a framework that allows you to freestyle and modify it to your goals. I see a lot of agency owners and freelancers specifically that come to us after having worked with a different trainer or bought a different course where that course taught them one way to do something, and it was the way that worked for the creator of that course or program. And there was really very little room for the nuance that is important likely to you and your lifestyle and your business. One obvious one is the course creator maybe didn't have kids and you do. And so the way that they design their business to hit certain numbers that you want is just not as doable for you because of your situation. And I find a lot of the business in the box situations, while they are great for certain people, they typically don't work as well for the marketing agency owner or the kind of creative freelancer, creative firm who wants to have that lifestyle. And more, I'm talking to these sorts of folks that actually want to and value the heck out of their freedom and their schedule. And they don't want to be working nights and weekends. And they don't want to have a huge team and have to be managing hundreds of customers and things like that. They want something that can be lean, mean, but still afford them an amazing schedule for their hobbies, and quite frankly, just be more creative and do more of the work that they actually love. And that's why in this video, I'm going to be using kind of 2 examples, one from my marketing automation agency, and then the other from our current business, which is a consulting and training company. Now, if you're new here, my name is Greg Hickman, and after a decade in the agency world, working with brands like Pepsi and Unilever, all the way to finishing client side where I hired agencies and consultants, I've been lucky to build a 6-figure agency myself, as well as a 7-figure consulting and training company. And I've had the opportunity to work with over 600 agencies and freelancers, helping them build a business that they love. And I release videos every single week. That's where I'm coming from when I'm bringing this to you. Now, to break this down, we're going to hop into my iPad and we're going to jam. So here's where I'm coming from on this. In my agency and even in my consultancy and training company right now, and I see this with a lot of our clients, you're going to have your ideal prospects that kind of are in different stages of business themselves, all within kind of the same umbrella of your ideal prospect. And so for the sake of this example, I'm talking for the, you're serving a small B2B audience. And I've found that there are the types of clients where in our world, they're typically doing over $1 to $5 million a year in revenue. And these are the types of people that typically are going to want and need more customization and likely some sort of done for you service. Now, the challenge with this audience is that because the hands-on nature for you, this is probably where your current revenue comes from. And these are what I call your clients. These are the ones where you probably will only serve and can serve a dozen to maybe 2 dozen of these per year because it's a little bit more customized and or bespoke and hands-on, which by the way is totally fine. And this is where you actually develop a lot of your core competency, your expertise, your intellectual property that's going to be utilized in these other offers. So your first offer is that client offer. This is the one where it's probably going to be the highest priced, the most intimate, and the most hands-on, obviously involving you and maybe even some of your team in order to deliver it. If you're an agency, this is kind of you in the trenches doing the work. If you're a consultant, this is probably like your one-on-one client. The next level down is what I found is we have a lot of people that come to us even in our, both when we had our marketing automation agency and our now consultancy, is that there are people that come to us that want what we need fundamentally, and they're somewhere between the 10 to 40K a month mark. And there's also people that are kind of between 40K a month and and 100 on the cusp of becoming the company that's doing over $1 million a year. What's interesting is there's actually kind of two buckets inside of here, which is why I called both of these out at the same time. And the great thing here is that the path that we go down is this. We look at these are the people that you serve first, right? Because this is probably the clients that you got first as an agency owner. You are doing the work for them. But you probably hit a point like I did where you didn't have the capacity to serve any more of those people, but you wanted more income and you wanted to keep growing. And what most people do is just hire more people and they play the game of, well, for every X clients, I need X more employees or staff or freelancers to deliver. When you play that game over time, what often ends up happening is the margins shrink for every new set of clients. More importantly than that, the complexity compounds and you have to become even more of a manager of people. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't manage people. It's one of the best things in the world, but many of us don't want to have a very large team. We want the business to be as simple and lean as possible, which means you can't play the game of just get more clients, which is what a lot of people preach, which brings us to the second offer that you need to have. And that's over here. This is where instead of calling it clients for the sake of differentiation, we call it members. Think of members as you're taking all of the expertise, the frameworks, the models, and the systems that you use for those clients and distilling that down to like the 80-20. I know that most people don't actually need what we do up here, but there's like probably 80% of the stuff that we do that more likely than not people do need. Like the foundational elements, the essentials that if they just had those things, they'd probably get further along on the path to the result. And that's where we have kind of what many people will call done with you and or a hybrid service. By hybrid, I mean a hybrid service is you're using a combination of coursework, curriculum, if you want to call it that, with some small group experiences like group coaching calls or consulting calls, woven with a little bit of personalized touch, which could be in the form of just one-on-one interaction and or done for you service. And lastly, bringing people together in a community so that they get different perspective. So when I say hybrid or blended services, that's really what I mean. It's a mix of done for you. It's a mix of consulting. It's a mix of online coursework and curriculum and community. And so inside of this kind of offering, we work with the people that often, again, they're not up here. They don't need the whole shebang, but they need help, but they might not need all of the help and they might not need you to do everything. And so in this kind of bucket down here, we really have this done with you layer. And I'll say this done with you plus done for you layer. And this is where you kind of stack these things together. You might get the client who's doing like here 50, 60K a month, and they need all of your pre-built systems that people have over here in this offering. You're just stacking on a little bit more love and attention, a little bit more hand-holding to serve those people, which again, for many of you might come in the form of a done for you component. But that doesn't mean the entire experience needs to be done for you. In my agency, we used to build webinar funnels for a lot of online authors, speakers, and coaches, people like John Lee Dumas, Chris Ducker, Jasmine Starr, etc. And we charged anywhere from 15 to 25K for those projects, but we were a little bit more involved. It was very productized and systematized over the years, which allowed us to say, hey, for the up and coming course creator that we couldn't afford us at this level, we said, hey, why don't we put together and bundle some of the key ingredients that we build for these people and we just show you how to do it. We'll give you pre-built automation. We'll give you email templates and a structure to follow so that you can be the labor and we'll hold your hand and guide you through it. And that was the first member offer that I had in our marketing automation agency. And people would pay 3 to 5K up front for all of the assets and stuff. And then we'd coach them in a 2K a month kind of recurring consulting offer that was a small group where we'd actually guide them through, we'd pull up Zoom, we'd do over the shoulder work that allowed them to kind of customize the campaigns that we had already built for them that were 80% done to actually complete the mission, launch their own campaigns and battle test. We really took everything from up here and just brought it down here and turned it into a repeatable step-by-step process that people could follow. I found personally in this space that if you're an agency or a freelancer and you kind of serve that B2B market, the people that are going to be best for this offer for you are likely somewhere making between 10 and 40K a month. But you also have those people that are still kind of roughly under $1 million a year in revenue, but they're kind of approaching $500,000 and up. Some of those people still need the done with you, but a percentage of those people will also say, hey, can you like do a little bit more for me? And that's where, again, you use some of the extra bandwidth from here, the leverage from here, and you offer kind of a done with you plus a done for you offering that is kind of combining some of your team's hours and the repeatable, profitable system that you created down here in your members offer. So that's the second one. And then the third one and last one is really, and so this is is I'll say this is 2A and this is 2B. Now, the last one is what we call the customer offer. And this is where you take all of the byproducts that you have from here and possibly even here, and you just sell them to customers. Customers in the essence that there is no fulfillment. Really, there shouldn't be a human involved inside of the delivery when we talk about the customer layer. This is where you see your books or your completely DIY courses or your Notion templates or your, hey, you ever buy like a Google Sheet calculator that was like really well done? Or I remember when I launched my business, I went to a lawyer that was doing this and they had all of the, website disclaimers, the terms and conditions that were kind of stock templatized that I bought for like $250 for my unique type of business. That was a perfect example. This lawyer does contracts and bills, hundreds of dollars an hour, which I couldn't afford, but they're like, hey, the 80-20 is you need at least this stuff. For $250, here are all the rewritten contracts and it's a fill in the blank. You can just follow the fill in the blank instructions. That's a perfect example of how a lawyer did it. For my marketing automation agency, we actually just sold the pre-built automation. So, hey, you're savvy with these marketing tools. Do you just want the 7-part email script campaign? Do you want the pre-built active campaign automation? We'll just import it into your business and you get to take it from there. Or, hey, here's the 21 emails that you need to send to follow up with your prospects after a webinar. Here's that template and the instructions on how to use it and customize it for yourself. These were all things, this is the most important part, these were all things that we were using as an agency in our service. We weren't going creating net new stuff. We were using stuff that we already had. And you have this stuff too, which will allow you to sell it. Now, here's what's also interesting is in order to get to $1 million a year, we never even had to sell the byproducts. That was kind of like the icing on the cake. We would do like Black Friday promotions, or when people came to us and they really couldn't afford anything because they were in this category of kind of roughly less than 10K, we sold them the byproducts. We sold them the pre-built stuff and they use their own sweat equity to actually implement. So you kind of have this level of like implementation help. You have the really high-end clients that you're going to do the work for them, but that means you can only do so many clients and serve so many clients at a time. But then you have kind of that hybrid relationship, which is, here, and you're working with the folks where it's like, they're going to do a little bit, you're going to do a little bit, you're going to guide them, they're going to ask questions, and you're going to interface and, kind of do it together. And again, there's the bolting on of the done for you component of that. So again, like I said, we have this from the clients, members, and customers. So for my agency, we built funnels, right? We built the funnels done for you. Then we had a 90-day program, which was small group, and this was done with you. They followed a step-by-step curriculum and we gave them all the stuff that they needed so they didn't have to build anything from scratch. And then this was really fully DIY and it was basically the templates. That was how we did it in our marketing automation agency. And while it's a general rule, but you can kind of guess, it doesn't always have to be this way. The people that are your clients pay the most, members are kind of that mid-ticket, and then the customers are the most affordable. The volume goes in along accordance with that. So you serve fewer clients at a higher price point. Your medium volume, medium price is your members, and your high volume potential with really low level of effort is your customers. Now, in our current consulting business, the clients are one-on-one, either a VIP day or a 90-day project, where we're working on something very specific, catered to their needs. And again, these are typically people that are, in my world, above $1 million a year, sometimes even 3, and we're focusing on their specific productization process, and they don't want to necessarily go through a group experience. They're a high enough level where they have team, and so a one-on-one engagement actually makes sense. Then we have our members, and we actually, like I said, we have 2 different tiers down here, and we have a program called Academy, and there's 2 versions of that where we're basically working with people kind of in that 30-ish K a month up to 100K a month at kind of our higher level. And then we have kind of that 10 to 30K group right here that has a little bit less access and some of the key fundamental pieces that they need there. So we can kind of serve this audience. I'll highlight it in green. We serve this audience right here with our member layer. We serve this audience with our client layer right here. And then we'll do blue. Customers is this. And so for our customers right now in our business, in the agency, like I said, we had like these DIY templates, but in the consulting and training business, we have courses and we have some other templates that kind of a combination of that. So we have a couple, I think we have like 3 or 5 different courses. And what's cool about the customer offer, if you do this right, is that anything that you would sell to customers are actually unbundled and extracted from assets that you have in the other layers. if that makes sense. And that's why I always like to draw this model from you have your clients, you have your members, and you have your customers. And I draw it stacked like this on purpose because all of the work and expertise that you develop from working with clients is what utilizes and enables you to do it really effectively to a smaller group of people or a group of people. So up here at the client's level, you're one-on-one, then you move down to members, but you've done so much work at the client level. You know the ins and outs that you're able to codify and simplify everything into a step-by-step system for a larger group of people that doesn't require as much hands-on attention. And then the next level after that is, wow, you've done this so well over time and you've had so many reps that you can now actually just teach someone to do it and they don't need any support, which is why some of the really small tactical templates and tools is what you see from a lot of folks at this customer level because you don't need anyone to hold your hand. So there's people that are involved at the client level. There's some people involved to deliver at the member layer, but it's way more leveraged and more one-to-many, and the customers can fundamentally be served without necessarily having any sort of human interaction. And this, my friend, is the 3 offers that we use both in our agency and in our training and consulting business that allowed us to have a $1.2 million a year business, some years more. But you can have that level of a business. But the most important part of that is for me that right now I work on average 25 hours a week. I go mountain biking twice a week. Like I said, I get to pick my kids up to and from school, and I get to be very present as a dad as well. If you want a business that is designed to serve a lot of people, give you a really great income, then you might not want to follow the just get more clients, hire more people path that a lot of agencies and freelancers go down. You might want to start building out these 3 offers. And if you want to go a little bit deeper on what actually each of these 3 offers looks like, you should go check out this video right here.